Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Quest Junkies. It is a Monday night, my dudes, and that can only mean one thing. It's time for some Wyld Ones with the Rhódania Chronicles. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
We are thrilled, excited, and happy to be here on this wonderful Monday to bring you some storytelling courtesy of the Wyld Ones. We had quite an emotional session last week, so let's quickly get through these introductions so we can get right into the heartbreak. My dear friends, please, if you'd be so kind, introduce yourself and tell us who you will be playing, starting with Mr. Timey himself, Artie.
Hi, I'm Artie the Halfling. I will be playing Mr. Timey, the Order Cleric with a clockwork soul.
Indeedy, thank you so much. And moving on from there, we have Aelin.
Hi, I'm Aelin. I will be playing Aegis, the biblically accurate twink.
Never gets old, does that? Thank you so much. Moving down the overlay, it is Pattoons.
Hello everybody, I'm Patrick, aka Patton. Sometimes I draw art, but Monday afternoons, I play Conor McGinnis, Earth Genasi, Runite Fighter.
There he is. And last but certainly not least by any measure, Bridget.
Hi guys, I'm Bridget. I'll be playing Frank, the Way the Long Death Monklock.
Monklog, indeed. Thank you so much. I am Patch, the ever-humble Dungeon Master. I play everyone else. So, the usual spiel, you'll see the periodic messages in the chat and on the overlay, shouting out things like our merch store, Sirenscape, all the fun little things. We have a Discord server where we send lots of memes. There is a very recent meme in the server at the minute, which is styled by the wonderful Bridget, and we are being raided by our stream team friends at Roll Together. Hello, my friends. Welcome on in, just in time as we are getting started. Hope you had a wonderful stream. I think ours is going to start off a little emotional, so if you want to stick around for some fun, sad times, do stick with us. Let me give you a little shout out here, because I remember how to do Twitch commands. Roll Together RPG. They're the only stream team for me. Okay, with all that being said, thank you everybody. Hope you stick around for a fun story tonight. The question is, where were we when we last left off? Our group, the Wyld Ones, were preparing for their next move on their quest to return Rhódania to the material plane, saving it from its Shadowfell-based fate at the hands of Frank's father and those other denizens of his domain of dread. They started off their day and night cycles not really a thing anymore. It's difficult, but they started off spreading a bit of positivity and much needed hope and encouragement to the denizens of the city of Zundanag. Starting up a little hoedown, a little party in the tavern that they were staying. There was music, there was singing, there was dancing. Unfortunately, the current moon cycle meant that all sound within the area of Rhódania across the continent is amplified extensively as long as this particular moon shines overhead. The sounds of revelry caught the attention of a colossal creature of rot and decay, which started to make its way towards Zundanag. It didn't take too long for the roaring cries of this beast to be heard by our group, who began immediately investigating where the threat was. And with a keen observation from the roof of the tavern, they saw this dark mass within the roiling storm clouds outside of the city approaching as a smaller figure seemed to be running towards the city away from it. One which they would soon recognize to be Brim Smallboy, who had gone out to do some foraging, feeling that the lack of sunlight would mean crops would most likely fail, and the sooner food could be harvested, the better. The Wyld Ones quickly began an operation to recover Brim and defend the city from whatever onslaught was about to arrive. And through a series of very unfortunate rolls on my end, the creature did arrive, dealing a catastrophic blow on its landing to one Brim Smallboy. The Wyld Ones did battle with this creature, and were very fortunate to avoid much of its rot-based attacks. Ones that Aegis in particular was very familiar with after their time in Demethrin. I say mostly, though, as Mr. Timey did come into contact with the rot for a brief time, and took a level of corruption. Something which hasn't really come up fully in this campaign. But more on that another time. After slaying the beast, this horrific bi-headed dragon of rot and bone, as its remains began dissolving and returning to the earth, they were left with the still cold body of Brim Smallboy, who during the battle had sadly failed all 3 of his death saves. Thanks to some quick action, gentle repose was cast upon Brim, preserving his body for the next 10 days. Amidst the chaos, the group were escorted back through the city by the guard of Zundinarg as they head towards the home base which they had abandoned 2 weeks ago, left deserted, empty, bringing Brim to a safe abode while they figure out what the fuck they are going to do next. And that's exactly where we rejoin the Wyld Ones, as you all arrive at the house. It is cold, it is quiet. Dust is beginning to build up on all the surfaces after it's been abandoned for the last couple of weeks. Brim is laid out on perhaps one of the sofas or a table, covered in a sheet.
Sorry, Patch, did you say we're at the Wyld Ones' house or Connell's mom's house?
I believe it was the Wyld Ones' house. Were you intending the other one?
I'm just making sure for myself.
I think it was the Wyld Ones home.
Okay.
Yes. You all take a moment as you arrive just to process everything that's just happened. So my question to you is, what's going through that mind? Frike, you seem to be the most outwardly affected. by this ordeal? What's going through your mind right now?
She may not make the connection that there are options for what to do with Brim. She may not be that level-headed and clear-thinking yet, because I think right now the wound is still fresh, and I mean that in both a literal and metaphorical sense. So once in a while she'll just have her hand protectively clutched over her wound, as she just kind of quietly sits and stares, and as soon as they make it into the house, she'll just find the nearest available place to sit and kind of sink into it. And for now, she's outwardly quiet and contemplative. Inwardly, there's a bit of an emotional storm raging on the inside.
Mr. Timey, let's go to you next. Now, you didn't have an extensive relationship with this feathery little friend, but you can definitely see the look on Frike and Connell's faces. You are well aware that this is more than an unfortunate loss to them. What's going through your mind right now?
Mr. Timey is trying as best he can to seem empathetic. He's dropped his disguised self, and in his mind he is trying to compute how the others might feel in this situation. Not having any experience with it himself, he's somewhat uncomfortable, which is hard to tell apart from a very slight shuffle in place. He stays to the side of the group and just kind of allows perhaps Aegis take the lead on what to do with the cadaver.
Okay. Aegis.
I think Aegis would find just a place to lay out the body where it wouldn't be disturbed. And he's going through his pack looking for something.
Okay.
And finally pulls out a rather large diamond. I don't know if this could be helpful, but I packed it for Denethrin, and I never ended up using it. But if you would like,
what does it do again? She's a little muddled in her thinking, so she might not realize.
like the coins, ready those who are to proceed into the land of the dead. The diamond is a sacrifice to restore life.
Oh.
Connell,
Where's...
what's going through your mind?
Well, approaching the house, Connor remembers the last time that he was there. Going through the thought processes of he wasn't strong enough, he wasn't fast enough. And now he's back at this house, having lost something yet again. While everybody else like makes their way, he just kind of like sits on like. I don't fully have a grasp of it, of like the visuals outside the house, but he kind of like sits on the doorstep, not even wanting to go in. Yeah, he just can't commit to going inside the house just yet.
I'd say the thought does cross your mind. This doorstep, not too long ago, held your shield when you first left the group. It held the weight of your place in the group. And now it holds all the weight that you carry as a burden right now.
Yeah, as far as Connell knows, this house of the Wyld Ones, like, it's not even a place of comfort for him because he never really established his place there. So yeah, he's just like wallowing in the could've, should've, would'ves.
Okay. We'll return back to the conversation inside.
I think if Connell hadn't joined inside, Aegis would go looking for him. Would he just be sitting like outside on the...
Yeah, like just on the front doorstep of the house. Everybody else had just like gone in. He's just like sitting by himself.
The moonlight is not good to be out in for extended periods of time.
Yeah, I've been out in this moonlight for quite a while by myself. As harrowing as it can be for everyone else, I don't even know what to think anymore. Brib was one of the first lives I saved as a hero, and recently the life that I let slip through my fingers.
Perhaps not yet.
And he just kind of just turns his hand to show the diamond to Connell as well.
What are you planning to do with that?
It depends on, I suppose, what Grim would prefer us to do. And what the rest of your group chooses. But we have 10 days to make that choice.
You play a big part in life and death, right?
I maintain the balance. Grim was not. He did not receive a natural death.
Right. I mean, I'm all for bringing him back, but don't we all have a number and time and when we're supposed to pass over?
We do.
Something like this happened before. Thrasham's not here, is he? You might have remembered the big tiger guy that we seen on our way to the street to fight the dragon.
What's a tiger?
For a second, I thought I heard a cat, and I was like, what the fuck?
I also heard a cat, but I have one in my lap.
Okay, that's what it was. That's the tiger.
Suddenly, Feronia returns.
He's one of Zunanarg's greatest heroes, one of Rhódania's greatest heroes. I think it was our first time going to the Shadowfell as a group to actually go save him, and before we could do anything to like help save him, he was gone before we knew it. Luckily, another cleric, a friend of ours, was able to bring him back. But the idea of someone dying in front of you to only be brought back and be some kind of like reminder of your failure to keep them alive in the first place, there's something about that never sat well with me. But the idea of having just one more conversation with the person, or that one more adventure with the person, I guess this is like the balance that you're talking about, but I don't think I'm the right person to talk to about that.
If I have the power to do something, then either I can grant peace, I can restore life.
If you've had that diamond for a while, why wait until this moment? Isn't there someone you could have saved with that?
No. They were gone in their entirety.
I'm sorry.
Your condolences are appreciated.
I think whatever the decision behind what's done with this diamond, I think Frank needs it. Like, I've been going through stuff, but to even get close to understanding anything that she's going through at the moment, I feel like she deserves some kind of win, or some kind of like glimmer of hope amidst all this darkness. And at the moment, I'm just a guy that can swing a sword and a hammer really hard, and I'm not able to do that right to save a small little guy. And if you're able to split yourself in two or whatever whatever that was, and bring people back from the dead, then by all means, it's your territory, but only if it's what Frike wants, because I believe she's got a big connection with the god of death as well. So
Perhaps
you don't want to piss those guys off.
Indeed. Why the god of death would be connected with anyone who is corrupting it into necromancy is beyond me.
Hang on. How is your connection with the gods at the moment?
It's different. It used to be and like he'll kind of just like summon a little bit of that like white mist in his hands. It changed. It's not black anymore. I think that whatever Frike's connection to death is, it could be a good thing. Death is meant to be a part of this world. And if Brim still wishes to be a part of this world, perhaps you can ask him tomorrow.
Okay.
But if you wouldn't mind returning inside, I'm still worried about you being out here in the moonlight.
Okay. Connell gets up off the step and he takes a big deep breath to kind of like prepare himself, and he like follows Aegis inside.
Okay. Anything from Frike or Mr. Timey while the other two were outside?
If Mr. Timey is still in the room, even if he's not, he's just going to... she's just going to ask... Do you think time erases people?
Well, if you're asking my opinion on the matter, I think time will always wear away, but that is the nature of it. Time destroys everything, but what matters most right now is the time that you cherish and remember those close to you. Time will eventually take it away, but for as long as there are people to remember, then time cannot destroy.
Her face turns very contemplative at that. Sometimes I wish there was a way that I could forget some people again. I wonder if it would have made my decisions until this point smarter, wiser, more practical if I wasn't carrying the memories of someone like my father. or the rest of my family that he kept from me. And no matter how much time has passed, I'm learning more and more new ways that he has attempted to destroy so much. And her eyes just flick around the room toward the open window. And now look what happened. He succeeded in one of his attempts. I hope that you're right. That the people worth remembering, that they're the ones that we hold on to. Because I fear what will happen if we don't.
Mr. Timey is going to take a couple of paces closer to Frike and look her in the eyes best as a Warforged can. Might I try something? Just for my own curiosity.
She'll turn to him and she looks remarkably stoic, but she'll just nod slowly. Sure.
Mr. Timey will cast Detect Thoughts and just try to comprehend in this moment exactly how Frike is feeling through the usage of the spell.
If there is a save, she'll elect to fail.
Would have been wisdom, but yeah.
Okay. Bridget. How is she
Surface.
feeling?
Trauma
Right.
dumping.
Right off the bat, she just wants to hear his voice one more time, to hear what he would tell her to do in this situation. And that line of thinking evolves into the overall sense of similar thinking, I imagine, to what Connell might be feeling, that she wasn't fast enough, that they left him alone. How could they leave him alone? This is her fault. And these thoughts aren't conveyed with words so much as intense outpourings of emotion and flashes of faces in her mind. The face of her father, the face of Brim, the memory of the last time they had to save him, how they were afraid they wouldn't, and how he looked toward the end, probably before Aegis cast Gentle Repose. And I think the final impression that Mr. Timey is left with is that she would like to hear his voice again, because she just wants to tell him that she's sorry. She let him down.
Mr. Timey is going to contemplate for a moment as he detects these thoughts. Just looks at Frike. And with Patch's assistance,
as the lights around Mr. Timey's face glow as he communicates. You hear Brim's voice speak. And with a slight Mr. Timey tone to it, somewhat. But Frike, you hear the all too recognizable voice saying, I will always be here. I am with you even now. And not all is lost.
She's staring into the blue glow of Mr. Timey's eyes, and her own eyes well up with tears again. And she just says, I'm sorry. I hope that wherever you are, that you're safe. You're my hero, Brim. She wipes her face determinedly and just looks back at Mr. Timey. That was really hard, but I appreciate that.
I would say that it's nothing, but I think for some people nothing is everything. So you are very welcome.
I think she'll take a look around the living room and kind of more of her memories of coming back here after a long day, of Rhódania going off to prepare tea, or Wes disappearing up to the workshop before it disappeared entirely, and trying to pull herself together as best as she can.
And as you do, the door opens as Connell and Aegis return into the room.
Is there anything you need before a long journey, Mr. Timey?
Not particularly, but I do pose a question for you all. I feel somewhat straying further from my designed protocol as I spend more and more time with you. And I was simply wondering if there was anything that I could perhaps do that would stop this from occurring again. I have offensive capabilities, I have defensive capabilities. I would very much like to not see you all in pain, and if there is anything that I can do to help, then I would like you to let me know.
Well, if it is possible to quantify this issue into a solution, I think we just do our best to look out for each other and try to survive as best as we can during these uncertain times.
Pain is also part of the process. We can't improve unless we take a huge... And he looks at Brim's body on the sofa. Unless we take a huge, huge hit. Mr. Timey, I don't think there's anything we could have done better there. I'm probably going to regret saying that later because I know there's probably stuff that I could have done, but you're incredible on the battlefield. Between the Prowler monster yesterday and this dragon today, whoever programmed you to be on the battlefield, you're sensational.
The phrasing, come with me if you want to live, is quite accurate.
Mr. Timer looks quite dejected at that comment and just looks towards Brim. Would appear not everybody I could save.
It's true of anything, though. Sometimes this happens. And I'm sure you just would agree with me, but death is a part of life.
It is.
New hero rule number 3. Oh fuck, I had something and I totally blanked. Fuck, I hit myself. It was really good. Ivan Patins, guys, I'm signing.
We can come back to it.
Saving, we might not be able to save them all, but we don't stop from trying. People die, creatures die, whether we're the ones at the end of the blade or they are. And until we can figure out what's going on with the Great Reconvergence, we're going to be fighting for peace a lot. And we got to be prepared for more people we're close to potentially getting into this kind of condition. But we don't stop trying. Because everyone needs that little bit of hope.
Speaking of which, right. And Aegis will kind of like reach out to like take your hand and put the diamond in it, and then kind of curl your fingers around it. If the choice is to be made, but I was planning on studying spell, giving you the chance to speak with Brim tomorrow. It would be brief, but we can learn what we need to know about whether or not to take him home or bring
We
him.
can speak with him.
Not in full, but enough to know whether or not we should try with the diamond.
She'll grip it a little bit tighter and, thank you. I didn't know what he would have wanted. Another tear slides down her cheek, but she will keep it safe in her bag.
I'll leave the decision to you, Frank. Since we seen Frasham today, I want to see if he can get us like some kind of insight into these branches of Palor you guys mentioned. See if there's like a safe ticket to Roshan's Rise so we can lay him to rest, or if reviving him tomorrow is a better solution. But I'm leaving that in your hands.
Okay. I think we speak with him and find out what he would have wanted. If he wants to come back or swallows. If he's content with being at rest. But he'll put the diamond in her bag at this point. I think for now, I could use some rest in a place with 4 walls and a door that we could trust. But I appreciate all of you very much.
Connell pulls her in for a hug.
Big hug.
Oh. Big beefy hug. The guy's like 7 foot something.
Yeah.
And it like he like whispers. he like whispers in your ear. Even though it's the end of the world, hugs are still nice.
They are. She'll it's a long time before she breaks away, but eventually she does, and she just mentions to the others, if there are any safety precautions we can take while we rest, because I don't know about all of you, but and it's here that I'm reminded that yeah, she took some hits. So if anyone else is up for it, she's going to suggest that they rest after a very long and traumatizing fight. But she'll basically just say, if there is any way that we might be able to feel safer while we rest, then please, if you're able to do so, please do so.
If you confine us to a certain space, I can provide somewhat of a trigger if someone tries to come into said space. You notice that he takes a small spool which seems to be wound around the clock in his chest and a little bit of wire. He starts to show basically the alarm spell.
I would suggest that there are rooms in this house that we could take, but for now, I think it's better if we stay close. And I imagine this might take some time, but she would explain that she's going to her room to get pillows and blankets to essentially build a great big fort in the living room for all of them.
Okay.
Connell looks at the door that should be his room and just takes a moment and tries to find Wes's room.
Okay. Now, Wes isn't here to tell you what's in Wes's room. But if I recall, Wes didn't specifically have a room, as he spent all his time in a workshop that is no longer there. But are you looking for, like, specific belongings of Wes? Or...
just something. I suppose, like, where the remains of the workshop would be, like, if there's, like, a single tool that Connor can pick up and just, like, hang on to.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
That is A 13.
13, okay. So you find two things. The first thing you find is a tiny little mallet, about so big, with a pointed end and a flat end that has seen many years of hammering away at small, dainty little contraptions. The flat side is super polished from all the years of use. Possibly one of his most used tools. You also find a small little box, almost like a jewelry box, which is unlocked and slightly open. Take a look inside.
Mm-hmm.
Inside you find 5 unfinished little figurines, resembling the 5 Wyld Ones from that time. There's a little Rhódania, there's a little Connell, a little Frike, a little Reese, and a little Wes. And it looks like the Wes one is the less detailed. It looks like there was definitely more care and attention put into the other 4. The Connell one has the most detail, the most little accessories, and is mostly finished. The other one's still sort of maybe 2/3 of the way done. But it's certainly a collector's item.
Connell's gonna look at the figures, put them all back in the box, and put it on a shelf that's still no, he's gonna take the box and he's gonna place it on the fireplace in the living room of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just gonna keep the little mallet in a belt.
Okay. So, intending to take a long rest, is there any final things before you do so? Or...
Ooh. While they're back home, since she got into the habit of writing letters while they were aboard the Discourteous Rose, but kind of fell out of it given everything that happened, I think she'd look for a quill, ink, and some paper. She would start practice of writing letters again once the fort is satisfactorily built and Mr. Timey's alarm is in place.
Mm-hmm.
Before laying down to meditate, she would write... You know what? I'll roll for it. She would write 2 letters.
Okay. Very good. So if there's nothing else...
Sorry, I just looked through my character sheet and I just realized, holy shit, I've had this thing the entire time. So
I've been here the whole time.
Connell's so Connell's been in Connell spends a little bit more time in where the workshop is, and if there's still some materials around, so he's got proficiency in smith tools, and he has smith tools in his pack. Mm-hmm. What he would like to do, it's probably going to be a really shoddy job, but do you know Demon Slayer, where he makes the box so he can transport his sister?
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially he's going to try and make a brim-sized box should we have to take him somewhere.
I'll allow it.
So is that a flat roll with proficiency bonus?
Yeah. D20 plus your proficiency bonus.
Cool. Good job. I admitted it to being a shoddy job because that's a 10.
A 10. Okay. With a 10, it'll certainly fit the purpose. Maybe not for an extended period of time, but it'll last at least 10 days. I'll put it that way. But yeah, you have a brim-sized box.
So what you're saying is it's like when I do a drawing but don't render it.
I mean, your words, not mine.
I know my mistakes.
It's not mistakes, it's just a work in progress. Okay. One by one, you all find your way to rest. To hopefully shed some of the burden that you've taken on today in preparation for whatever it is that comes next. And everyone does take the benefits of a long rest. But before you all reawaken, I just have a couple of things. Who wants to go first? Connell or Frike?
I say rollies.
Mm-hmm.
You want to roll his Frike? Go ahead and roll
I was going to say ladies first, but sure, let's roll. I got a 9.
19.
19. All right.
Wow.
Oof.
Frike. In the emotional, traumatic mess that is your mind right now, dealing with everything, even trying to begin to process everything, all the loss. You keep thinking back about Brim, about Brim's voice, about that conversation. And your mind actually takes you back to a memory. One that at the time probably felt less important than most. But we're going to play out this memory right now, if you'll indulge me. Your mind takes you back to being on the deck of the Discourteous Rose on one of its several voyages. Off in the distance, you can see on the bows of the ship Rhódania having one of their frequent arguments with Reese. You see Connell McGinnisy giving some massive explanation about being a hero, one of his many roles, whilst at the same time receiving a full-on Bob talk from Bob Crandall. You're stood on the side of the deck of the ship with your elbows up on the barrier, looking out across the skies. The sun is beginning to set on the horizon. And off to the side you hear this little...
Just one minute.
As Brim climbs up and sits on the barrier next to you.
Well, I don't know about you, but I can't say I'm a fan of shadow creatures. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know you technically you are
from a shadow place, but you're not a creature. No, you're wonderful. I'd be quite happy for us to see lots of light places. Now, would you agree, Frank?
I would. It's always easier to look for the light.
Yes, it is. But I just wanted to say, like, you are an incredible fighter, and you're very good at saving everyone, and you give people a lot of hope and stuff, but I may have little feathery eyes, but these eyes see much. And I see the shield that you put up. You hold a lot of sadness, and you shouldn't. You have lots to be happy about. You make me very happy.
You make me happy too, Brim.
Well, I try. It's nothing fancy. I'm just a small boy.
I know that we've been on quite the journey together, but it feels like we were barely in Roshan's Rise to begin with. And she will essentially ask him to regale her with tales of Brim Smallboy and his family and being in Roshan's Rise before they got reconvergence to Rhódania.
Oh, well, yeah, I could tell you so many different things. Oh, wait, there's this one time when I found this really great big cockroach that was scuttling about beneath the trees in our village, and everyone was like, oh no, it's got too many legs. I don't know what we're going to do with it. Do we make it shoes or do we kill it? What do we do? And I was like, well, I only have the one shoe, and I always wanted to be a dancer, so maybe something with many legs could teach me how to be a dancer. I don't know. And just constant, never coming up for air, regaling of tales of slight adventure. But at the end of it all, before the memory fades, he says, When I said to you that you're my hero, I want you to know that that's more than just a simple compliment. You may hold a great weight of sadness. You may not fully believe in your role in whatever the threads of destiny, whatever the fuck they call it, is wielding in front of us all, but you inspire a lot of hope in people, and you are capable of so much. And I may only be a 36-year-old feathery git from Roshan's Rise, but I see a lot of potential in you, and whatever decisions need making in the future, I know that I would be confident in whatever you feel is best. You lead, and I'll follow. Possibly from a distance, because I only have small legs, but I will try.
Well, thank you, Brim, but if I'm not allowed to talk bad about myself, then I don't think you should be allowed to do that either. I know it's easy to be very hard on ourselves, but...
Okay, I have medium-sized legs then. Is that better?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. All right, now. Do you fancy helping me play a trick on the two cats? I've had an idea.
Oh. I'm ever so curious.
As the memory fades to whatever it was the two of you got up to on that ship that evening. And you continue your meditation, your rest. Now, Kyle, your memory takes you a similar place, but not quite the same. A similar time as Discord completely destroyed your bitrate on the call, apparently. You still there, bud? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I'm still here. Whoa, it said at like 2004 MS. So
Oh, yes, the Great Reconvergence is messing with our with our bitrate. We're all good. Okay. Oh, I think you're gone again. Oh my goodness. Okay.
No, I'm still here. Can you hear me at least?
We can. It keeps stopping and starting. Let me just take a quick look here. All right.
What if I turn off my cam for the moment?
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put us on an early break so that I can restart the call, which I think might help. So, friends, we're going to take our bio break about 15 minutes early. So we'll be back very, very soon. Do stick around and we'll find out what Pat's, Connell's memory is all about. See you shortly. welcome back, my dear friends. Thank you for your patience. We have resolved Conal McGinnis's internet issues, slayed those pesky tech goblins, and we are back. So, we're going to pick up exactly where we left off during taking a long rest. Bridget, Frike, sorry, I'm getting names mixed up. Frike was revisiting an old memory from one of the past adventures with the recently departed Brim Smallboy. And it seems Conal McGinnis was doing something similar. As Conal, you take your rest and your mind drifts back to a similar time, but not quite. A little bit earlier. As you are with the Wyld Ones in Roshan's Rise. As you are trailing through the forests towards the destination where you will eventually find the Dancer of Shadows, investigating everything that's happening there. And on this journey, leading the way as you often do, you hear as the little footsteps of Brim come running up behind you. The heroes must lead the charge, isn't that right, Mr. McGinnis? And he holds up a little twig.
That's a spirit, little guy.
Yeah. I'm trying to... we don't really have a concept of being a hero in Roshan's Rise. It's only very new, but it sounds exciting. So, I want to be a hero. Can you teach me?
Yeah, sure. So the first step to being a hero is a hero's got to relinquish all fear in the people that he's trying to save. So you got to do it with a smile on your face. You got to inspire hope, and if you want to know, I was taught a whole list of rules that I can go into detail about every single one.
Oh, is it a big list?
Oh yeah, my mentor taught me 100 rules and how to be a hero, and I keep them close to the heart.
100? That's like 10 tens, isn't it?
You're correct.
Ah. I wasn't as bad as mathematics as they told me I was. Okay. Yes, when we get some time, I will peruse your list of rules to being a hero. Can you give me the TLDR of it? Because we're on a bit of a time frame here, I think.
So, rule number 1, everyone needs a hero. Rule number 2, nobody cares about a zero. Rule 101 is you gotta go the distance.
Got to go the distance. Okay, so when we reach the destination that we're going to, we will have gone the distance. Specifically, the distance from the village to our destination. Is that correct? Am I understanding this correctly?
It's specifically talking about your hero's journey, and you gotta go the distance. There's always going to be a destination. You just have to keep going to get it. Also, it could also be a thing where I'm getting this idea where, and he kind of makes a side eye towards Rhódania. I really want to throw the cat.
Wait, throw?
That could be going the distance in a different sense.
But it doesn't sound heroic. It sounds fun. Yes, don't get me wrong. It sounds very fun. But what's heroic about throwing a cat?
Sometimes you just got to go for the style points, Brim. Never forget, a hero's got to look their best.
Oh, and he looks down at his dungarees and single croc on his 1 foot.
I'm not very good at style. Maybe you could teach me how to be stylish too.
I am working on a little life for for doing some hero work. It's not quite ready yet, though.
Oh,
Someday.
Okay. Well, just so you know, Conan, you're the first hero I met, so I will believe anything you say about being a hero. So I hope you're telling me the truth. I know that you are, because you're a friend, and you wouldn't dare lie to me. So, anything you say, I will believe.
Well, I was holding back in that fight I had on the ship against Bob. I could have used a special power to trap him in flames, but I chose not to. It wasn't because I didn't read my rules correctly. I just decided to go easy on him.
Oh, well, that makes sense. And you wouldn't want to embarrass the old man, would you? No.
Exactly. His head's quite literally in the stars.
Yes, it seems that way. It is, Well, being a hero, you must have saved thousands, millions of people. Surely, a hero of your stature.
Well, that's the thing, Brim. I'm just on the start of my journey.
Oh, you came across as with the confidence of a hero that's been slaying dragons and saving people for generations.
Yeah. My mentor taught me everything I know. I've researched and looked at so many heroes of Rhódania. I know them all. And yeah, they're just incredible. And I want to be like them. I want to save as many as I can. And I'll not let anyone die. We were close with the ship crash, but we pulled it together. Totally not my fault. Absolutely not my fault.
It's strange, because Feronia said it was absolutely your fault, and anyone who said otherwise was a liar and should be ridiculed for it.
And that's why we're throwing the cat.
Oh, that makes so much sense now. I see. Okay. Well, yes, I agree. You will save everyone. You won't let anybody die. Not a single person.
To modern day.
As the memory begins to fade, you just hear him sort of trailing off, talking to himself, going,
I wonder what it's like to die. Must be a real bummer, but at least I won't find out because I'm traveling with the Wyld Ones.
Yeah, dying must suck.
as the memory fades to black. As one by one you all reawaken the following day. Well, it's still the same day. You've taken 8 hours of rest. It was still sort of early morning when this began. Kind of difficult to tell, but we're going to call this the same day. But you've taken your long rest, and the house remains as quiet as it was when you sat down to rest. No alarms have been triggered, and the scene is yours. So who's going to awake first? Who takes shorter rests?
Actually, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Think she only needs 4 hours?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think Connell's the only one here that actually has to sleep.
Actually, before we do, Mr. Timey,
Yes.
in your rest, you do notice an abnormality. some of your metal exterior is darkened and discolored. Specifically, the parts that came into contact with the rot earlier in the day.
Huh.
That's all. I'll take this
Shall we make a
opportunity
note?
to say hello to Phoenix Wacky in the chat and hope you had an amazing birthday, my dear friend. I'm going to give you a shout out because it's been your birthday. Phoenix Wacky, someone who has had a very personal experience with the rot here at Quest Junkies. So yes, one by one you will awaken from your rest. Can't all last because, 8 hours. It's important. That's part of being a hero, getting your 8 hours. So how are we all feeling? You think your minds are a little bit clearer, or?
Connell's gonna kind of I imagine he would have sat down and went to sleep next to the fireplace, so sleeping upright. So he wakes up and he just kind of gets to his feet, kind of lifts the box that he had, and just kind of holds it next to Brim just to make sure he got the size right. And then he's just gonna place it the part of the sofa next to him and just wait for everybody else to waken up.
I imagine after 4 hours of trance, Frike would probably station herself near one of the windows to try and get a look out onto the street to see if what's happening, if there's any more signs of imminent danger for either us or people on the streets.
Okay. Give me a perception check.
Yeah, the dice went flying.
They do.
17?
A 17. Okay, let me just quickly find something. Where did I put it? Where did I put you? I'm not sure where I've put it now. Okay. Apologies. The streets remain quiet, as they did previously. It's probably safe to say that most people may elect to stay indoors for a while, based on the sounds that they heard from the outskirts of the city 8-9 hours ago. People are quite concerned. So the streets do remain quiet. However, you do notice a change. The moon cycle has shifted once more. But what has it shifted to? I would like you to roll me a D100.
Oh. Use one of my fancy. Oh, I believe that is a 64.
A 64. Okay, I think that is a new one. Let me find it. There's too many moons in this moon cycle. Okay. One second. Jesus. Here we go. All right. Okay, you definitely notice a change.
Okay.
The first thing you notice as you look out onto the streets is a thick layer of frost and ice now covers the streets and the buildings. Snowfall silently drifts from the heavens above, and as your eyes follow it upwards, you see the same large moon hung in the center of the sky, towering over the city, giving off a strange ethereal purple hue. But the details of the moon, it almost looks like the moon itself is covered in glacial frost. As in the current moon cycle, we're now under the glacial moon. The safe thing is, sound is no longer amplified like it was under the previous moon. But there are other effects, which we may find out at some point. But for now, the temperature has plummeted. It's not like to a dangerous level, but it is much colder since yesterday it was essentially summertime. It's like going from summer to winter in the space of 8 hours. So a typical day in the UK. Or Canada. That's what you notice with a 17.
Connell is going to very carefully lift Brim and put him into the box.
Okay.
Close it over, put like a little latch on it. And he's going to like wear it.
What about the rest of you?
If possible, I think Aegis would have attempted to make breakfast for the group. Maybe some tea, so that everybody has something like warm and comforting to wake up to, especially now with a glacial moon.
I'll say you rummage around the kitchen and you find a few remnants of some really nice moon lotus, which Connell and Frike would recognize as what Rhódania was making tea with most recently during their adventures together. Makes a good tea.
I think that she'd pull out the winter coat that she got from Astarian's tailor shop. And maybe, because I was trying to remember this the other day, I think it was just the coat, or did she also get boots? It might have just been the coat, right?
I think it was just the coat.
Yeah, we were thinking of winter weather, so before they set out today, she might make it a point to bring it up that perhaps they should restock themselves for winter weather.
Okay.
Mr. Timey's going to look towards Frike after she says that we need to stock up for winter weather, and looks towards the group and says, Well, I think I'm rather well prepared. I think I have the perfect outfit for this. And he's going to cast Disguise Self, and it is a new appearance. And it is a very short for Mr. Timey. Like, he probably loses about half a foot of his normal appearance. And he appears as a basically a very wiry-looking human with a fur coat on, who you can assume he bumped into at some point. The coat looks a little bit outlandish, like it has massive fur collar. Think like Macklemore in Thrift Shop. Just kind of very, very out of place.
Hell yeah.
Please just tell me it's Macklemore.
It's just Macklemore.
There we go. It's canon. This is canon now.
Yeah.
I got your granddad's gold.
Oh, look incredible.
Yep, let it be known that the Rhódania Chronicles canon now stipulates that one of Mr. Timey's disguises is straight up Macklemore.
So yeah, and he's just going to sort of turn to the party, smiling, just sort of like flexing, I guess, pulling the collar up.
You got a decent figure.
Just nods for now. I need to work on a voice.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear Macklemore's voice.
What does Macklemore sound like? Google.
Walk into the shop like, what up, I'm Mr. Timey.
What up? I got a big cock. Quote Mr. Timey. Yeah, so Connell's gonna just kind of like shuffle towards the front door. Right, so we're gonna make our way to thrash him.
Yeah.
And see if he can get us access to the branches of Paler.
Did you?
Yes.
All right.
The spell is ready. If you wanted to talk to Bram before we go.
Oh. Let's wait for now. We have things to take care of first.
Just
Connell's-
at the door.
Connell's going to gently open the door and just like put his like exposed arm out into like the moonlight to see what, if anything, happens.
You put your arm out into the cold and you immediately feel the biting sensation of the frozen temperatures outside. Let me have a look here, see if there is anything that you would notice specifically. Okay. You don't notice anything that feels difficult, but as you sort of start to peek your head out of the door, you look down the streets, and it's like when a heavy fog rolls in, like you can't see all the way down the street. Mechanically speaking, creatures other than monsters suffer a -10 penalty to perception checks under this moon.
Oof.
If a creature, I might as well just tell you this because it will affect things going forward. If a creature travels at a fast pace, as per the travel rules, they are considered blinded.
Does this affect passive scores as well?
It doesn't say it does. Oh, it does actually, yes. Perception checks and their passive perception, so a -10 to passive as well.
Oof.
Yeah. For there's just one little more tidbit I will give you. For each hour that passes that you remain outside, I have to roll a d6. And if I roll a 1, you all have to make a Constitution saving throw, or you take cold damage equal to your level, so that would be 10 cold damage.
Oof.
That is harsh.
This is a fucked up moon.
How close is the Wyld Ones house to the Coliseum?
I think it's about 30-40 minutes going at normal pace. It's not far.
Considering it's currently summertime, if we're going by the year, how bad's the winters in Zidinark?
They're not bad at all generally. It's very rare that you would see.
Do they get this foggy?
No.
Okay. Could Connell still navigate this like the back of his hand, or is it just less so?
I would say it would be a straight roll survival check. Like, under normal circumstances, I'd give you advantage based on how intimately aware you are of the city, having grown up here. But under these circumstances, it would just be a straight roll.
Okay.
Aegis.
Does this affect blind sight?
Ooh, that is an interesting question. Let me take a look. It does not stipulate that it does. So I would say no.
Just to let you know that Aegis has 10 feet of blind sight.
Could come in handy.
Seeing Connell put his hand outside and like noticing, I guess, like the blistering wind or cold or things like that, she's going to glance down at her sandaled feet and just, yeah, if we do pass by any cobblers or shoemakers, I think I could use a visit inside.
Okay.
All right.
So,
well, I guess we're going to try and navigate our way back to the Coliseum.
Sure. So stepping out into the streets, Connell leading the way. Connell, give me a survival check.
Guidance.
Yeah.
D4 of guidance.
That is needed.
How do you give the guidance?
Just kind of like coming up behind Connell, obviously shorter by a fair stretch, just pats him on the back and says, "You got this, bro. I believe in you."
Wow, I feel incredible. I got a 1.
You feel great. You can do this.
So, 7 on the 20, a 1 on the D4, and a +1, so that is 9.
A 9. Okay. I'll say it takes longer than it normally would. These conditions make it very difficult. You have to take things slow. It's going to take just over an hour to get to the Colosseum. Bridget, you got something?
On the way there, attempting to perceive if any shops are open for the day, if they are frantically selling winter gear because of the sudden change in moon cycle. I assume people would be panic buying at this point. Because, yeah, I imagine it does not feel good for someone wearing sandals to be out in this weather right now.
The two things I will say is, number one, everyone is staying shut indoors based on the events of the last 24 hours. The other thing I would say is that we've established previously that the markets are on the outskirts of town and you are heading inwards. So, unfortunately, you wouldn't come across any cobblers on your way there. Now, mechanically speaking, you're wearing sandals, you're not hindered. You know, you are a monk, you do dope monk shit, so you can make sandals work. But RP, we can say that you've got cold toes. You got cold feet.
Always back to feet.
Always back to feet. So, I have a d6 to roll. You know what? Let me get one of my Ruidus d6 out. Because they always roll really well. I don't want to roll bad for you guys. I rolled too bad last week. I rolled a 6. You're fine. You don't take any damage. That's why we pick the Ruidus dice. Alright. You continue making your way through the city, eventually finding the ice-covered Colosseum. You see the guards still posted outside with like a robe over their armor, teeth chattering, but still standing to attention. Recognizing you as you approach, they sort of gesture for you to enter the Colosseum. And once again, you go past the statue of the Wyld Ones. Frike, do you avert your eyes as you did before, or?
It's a fleeting glance. Quick look and then quick look back.
Okay. And you make your way inside. The Colosseum is full. No pun intended, but full to the brim of people. Huddled in for warmth and shelter. You speak to a couple of the guards there, asking where Thrasham is, and they point you in the direction of a sort of room where they're coordinating the security of the city. And you find your way to that room, and you see Thrasham there with a couple of guards sort of stood over a table with a large map of the city on it and sort of pointing out like patrol routes and things like that. And Thrasham looks up to see you and well met. I trust you are well. Nasty business before.
Yeah. We have business to seek out.
Yes.
Can you get us?
Could you give us all a moment? He gestures for the guards to leave. And they do. Please, take a seat. How can I help?
We have... To kind of give you the rundown of what happened, we were in a place called Morganath. I reconnected with the rest of the Wyld Ones on the Discurtus Rose as we were on our journey there. The place was cut off by the power of the gods and other worldly patrons. We encountered the true incarnation of the god of death, which had some kind of connection to the reconversions. through that, he was able to zap us all with the reconvergiousness and blasted us. Well, blasted me and Frike here. God knows where Reese, Rhódania, and Wes are. And during that said time of being back in the city, we've been doing our patrol routes, and we've been keeping an eye on the civilians in your absence. And yesterday, we lost Brim.
Oh. Oh dear. I'm dreadfully sorry.
We gotta keep moving forward. If we don't do something to figure out what's going on, Brim is just the beginning of the death toll.
Wise words from a wise man.
Are you able to get us clearance to investigate the branches of Pelor?
Branches of Pelor. Curious. What use do you have of those ancient relics? Last I heard, they were all shut down years ago.
So our pale-skinned friend here is from... I don't think he's from the place, but his last major adventure was in Demethren.
And he looks over to Aegis in this moment and... Oh. You are Aegis of the Demethren 5.
I am.
And he sort of walks over and puts out his one arm and extends a hand for a handshake. I have heard tales of your exploits, Sime. It is a pleasure to meet you, and I am... we are all grateful for the sacrifice you and your companions made.
He just takes his hand and just bows his head briefly in acknowledgement. I've also heard many good things about you as well.
My accomplishments pale in significance to the work that all of you, looking at all of you, what all of you are doing and have already done here. I'm just a silly old hero. Sorry, Connell, you were saying...
Yeah, so it's been speculated that the country of Demethren was involved in a reconvergence event. Should we be able to use the branches of Pelor in some way to reach Demethren? That could be beneficial in us doing some kind of research, and especially if we've got one of the Demethren 5 with us, then we've got some kind of connection to investigating how we can potentially solve this.
Well, I certainly don't know how they operate. But in terms of giving you clearance, I don't think it's required. The government were one of the first to evacuate the city when everything happened. We've not heard from them, so I assume they have been taken by the shadows. The palace is mostly empty, scarce for a few survivors. I have no objections to you going there.
We had heard previously about the branches of Pelor from Dothrin Mythe. That is to say, was he one of those that evacuated?
Indeed, yes. It seems that being a figure of power is a not a good thing. Fortunately, that is where I now find myself, as custodian of the city in the absence of the government here. And he sort of stumbles over his words a little bit. I've just returned from Etheriond. The king, Kaiser Nemarian, he was murdered just before everything happened.
Oh my god.
Yes, it's quite a shock. Everything in Etheriond is chaos. The people don't know what to do. My intention was to stay to try and assist in finding out what had happened, but it became too unsafe, so I returned.
Have the monsters invaded Etheriond as well?
They are everywhere. I had a few close calls myself, and much as I hate to admit it, I've done more running than fighting over the last few weeks. Which goes against everything that I stand for. But I'm no use to anyone if I'm not alive.
Sometimes running to fight it another day is the best strategy.
I could not agree more, young McGinnisy.
And he looks towards Frike and back to Thrasham. So since part of the Shadowfell has now become part of the material plane, another contender that you have to keep an eye out for is Frike's father. Insert name here. He's that god of death I mentioned before. He's kind of pulling the strings on Frike's father in some way. If you ever come across a figure called Phobos that was playing the facade of Frike's brother, he's also got 4 Genasi under their command. Some of them aren't as hostile, but you'll find a water Genasi called Nero, a fire Genasi called Khalid, an earth Genasi called Haldor, and an air Genasi called Irani.
I had heard stories of rogue Genasi over the last few weeks. I will keep my eyes out. Are we to treat them as hostiles, or...?
Irani is definitely the most dangerous. And he points to the scar in his brow. I got that from him. Haldor helped me escape. Khalid is on the fence, but Nero is an misunderstood gem. But if you mention Stalagmite, they might lean our way.
Fascinating. I will take that under advisement, thank you.
Living are not the only threat. The rot that was thought defeated in Demethren has reached Rhódania as well.
By the gods. I had heard tales of the rot. Is it as dreadful as the stories suggest? I'm not one to impose, but any information you have could be useful. I saw that monster.
How's his rot thing?
It's gone.
Oh.
Yes, the creature that you fought earlier was one of them, and it can infect the living with touch.
I see. Is that what happened to young Brim?
No.
We spared him from that fate.
That is a relief to hear. Small, that one, but big heart.
If I might add something onto that, the former god of death, who has no name, it's become apparent that he is my father's benefactor. Whatever that might mean, I know that the Shadowfell appearing on the material plane and Rhódania appearing here, that was part of his plan. And I, the unwitting key that slotted everything into place.
What do you mean by that?
He used me to get what he wanted. And then he got it.
He extends his hand out to your shoulder. Don't burden yourself with that talk. You're not a thing to be used. You are someone who can make a difference. Right his wrongs. If you want to be. What I'm getting at is you are whatever you choose to be. Don't choose to be an accessory to evil. Choose to be the solution.
Well, something that happened as a result of our time in the Citadel of Morganath, and she is going to... I imagine it's a lot like Lucifer when she summons her wings, so she's just going to roll the shoulders and manifest the wings.
Heavens.
I don't know if these, or points out the mark on her chest, noticing that his is gone, she's going to falter in her speech a little bit. Or this, I don't know if it's a benefit or if it's a curse, but...
He reaches out. He doesn't touch the mark on your chest, but he reaches out towards it. You have afflicted this as well. There is... Mine began to grow, but it was healed. There is magic that can drive it back, expel it from the system. At least
eyes
in
dart toward Aegis.
At least in my experience, a greater restoration, I believe it was called.
Oh. Were you healed in the city or in your travels? Or how did that happen?
In my travels.
Mr. Timey is going to cast Greater Restoration on himself.
Okay, what does it look like as Mr. Timey casts Greater Restoration on himself?
Clock starts going backwards, and as it does, it's almost like it's reversing the effect of the rot.
Okay, well, are you still in your disguise?
Oh. Yes, I would be. Mr.
So-
Timey, in his disguise, casts Greater Restoration on himself.
Mhm.
And the only thing that changes is that the fur starts to become a little bit more like sleek and new.
It just sort of, like, Thrasham just sort of turns and looks at you like... Prestidigitation, I haven't seen that spell for a long time. Sorry, we haven't been introduced. I am Thrasham Foe, chosen custodian of Zundanarg and mentor of sorts to young Beginnersy here. Who might you be?
Looks to the party first. Tries to gauge whether this is like friend. How much should tell?
Frake's going to nod in encouragement.
Mr. Timey is going to, much like how he introduced himself to the Wyld Ones originally, is going to pretend to take the coat off, and as it comes round his body, obviously dispels, and then outstretches a hand, and now the rest of you can see that all of the discoloration is now gone as he shakes Thrasham Foe's solitary.
Well met. You are a construct. I met some of your kind, or I don't want to say your kind, but I met some constructs on one of my visits to Caithern. It was most enlightening. Are you a native of Caithern? Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Oh, you can call me Mr. Timey. I don't know much of this Caithern place you speak of, but I can say that I am somewhat different to others that you may have met of my particular disposition.
Oh, a unique article. Well, we're happy to have you on board, I'm sure. If the Wyld Ones have your vote of confidence, then so do I.
Mr. Timey sort of takes a step back and just sort of allows conversation to continue.
So he turns back to Frag. Yes, so, they called it a greater restoration magic. I'm not sure if it was just me being lucky or if our two things are different, but it looks similar to what I had, so it's something, maybe. It scared me. Not much scares me, but it scared me. Because I did not understand what it was.
I will keep that in mind.
Are you... Miss Frike? This may be a silly question, but... Are you all right?
I'm not quite sure what I am. Rolls his shoulders and the wings disappear. But no, that's a lie. What I am is angry. And what I would like is justice.
Anger can be a fuel for great power, but it can also take you down a darker road. Be mindful of how you wield such anger. I'm not dissuading you, I'm just advising caution.
I never imagined that this was where we would end up at this point in our journey. So, I'm a bit unprepared.
Well, the only way to get prepared is to first know what it is like to be unprepared. That's how you find out what you need to do to prepare.
Navigating this world I haven't been back in for 200 years. It's a good way to start, I imagine.
One step at a time.
I'm glad that you have survived, Thrasham. I can only hope the same for the rest of us.
I have faith in the Wyld Ones. All of them. I did not know the fate of your companions, but I'm holding out on hope that they are where they need to be.
However close these statues are in relation to where they are, I imagine like a tear gets frozen on her face. Just to pick at it.
Well, this sudden snowstorm has caused some concerns, but we are okay for now. We have supplies, we can last out for a while. And he notices at this time the box on the back of Connell's shoulders. Good heavens, is that...
Yeah.
Do you require a place of safety and privacy while you do whatever it is you need to do? We can protect him.
I think so. And she'll just say it a couple times like she's trying to convince herself, and then finally she'll just nod and... Yes, I think it's that time.
Connell takes off the box and places it on the table.
You have my word on my life and my honor that he will be protected until you return. Anything you require, the city of Zundanag is at your disposal. As its custodian, I can make that vow. There is not much of the city left at this stage, but what we do have, I offer freely.
If you and your people can get us a straight path to where these branches are, that'd be fantastic. While I've got you here, do you know anything about the Sword of Wailing Death?
What do you know of the Sword of Wailing Death, young McGinnisy?
We came across a book in the library about weapons of legend. If we're going to be going up against gods and universal power, I think getting our hands on one of these weapons would be quite beneficial.
Well, I do know of that blade. It's my birthright. The blade that was wielded by the hero from ages ago who first bore the name Thrasham Foe, my ancestor. A blade of great power, but it does come at a cost to wield. I should know. He lifts his hand up and clicks his fingers, and a blade appears in his hand. A jagged, blade, a longsword with a serrated edge on both sides, going up to the tip. It looks old, looks like it should be like rusted and corroded, but the metal of the blade is pristine and has a ethereal almost glow to it, and the more you look at the blade itself, your eyes begin to lose focus. You have to blink and refocus your eyes elsewhere.
This has been your sword the whole time?
It has, but one that I choose only to wield when it is at the utmost necessary.
Well, at least we know where it is, at least. Do you know anything else about the Swords of Insight?
Not a great deal. I know much of Thrasham and his legacy. It has been passed down through my family ever since. He, upon the victory in the Great War of Fire, he retired himself to Zundanag and spent the remainder of his days here. He was the first champion of the city. He was laid to rest in the catacombs below this very Colosseum, and his blade has been passed down by generation of champions. All of them being of my bloodline. The thing is, I never bore children. The bloodline ends with me. I'm not 100% sure what that means for this blade. The other Swords of Insight, I believe their respected wielders did similar. They returned to their cities, their people, and lived out the remainder of their days. Their weapons and their armors were maintained by their families, their followers, and kept secret and safe until such a time as they may be required once more. You can see he looks very, pensive the more he talks about this. This is not a blade that I could give up easily, young McGinnisy. I do wish to help you, but you all carry such a heavy burden right now, and this blade wields its own burden. A very intimate burden. It may do just as much harm to you as it does to those you cut down with it. Not physically, but... well, it's called the Sword of Wailing Death. No truly good weapon carries such a name. Let's put it that way.
I don't understand. Apologies, you said it was intimate.
He sort of looks at it and vanishes from his hand. This weapon is indeed eloquent. It is light. It can be wielded with great power. But every so often, it takes a toll on its wielder. This is why I don't often use it, as under specific circumstances, it can shorten one's lifespan. At the cost of wielding greater power. It is a hungry weapon, and while it feeds on the enemies of its wielder, sometimes there are no enemies to feed on. But that hunger remains. Perhaps it's better this blade dies with me. But, well, I think my days of being a hero are done. What are you asking of me, Conor McGinnisy? Do you wish to take up the blade of Wailing Death?
I think I'm still searching for which of these weapons I would like to wield myself. Knowing that it's in your hands, I feel like it's the safest hand. I don't want to... I want the power of these weapons to reflect my own strength, not the sword itself be the source of the strength.
Well... And he comes over and he puts his arm around you in like a little half hug. You know, these swords of insight, even this blade of Wailing Death, they weren't always legendary weapons. They were made legendary by the wielders, who bestowed great power upon them. If you wish your weapons to be a reflection of your beliefs and your intentions and your power, then perhaps the weapons you hold are the ones you are looking for. Perhaps they are just dormant to what is to come. Am I making sense?
I hear you.
If it will assist you during your dealings with the branches of Palor, I will attempt to seek out information about the other weapons, should you wish. Please make me useful in this. I wish to help.
Okay. Like I said to you yesterday, sentence zones aren't working at the moment, so old-fashioned communication.
Old-fashioned way. I always preferred the old-fashioned way, if I'm honest.
Yeah, but I'm not too sure if the pigeons are getting eaten by the monsters that are in the sky.
Oh, we've got better things than pigeons, believe me.
It's possible we may need to become our own kind of couriers.
I'm sure there's a gap in the market for such a thing. Perhaps when your small feline friend returns. She always seemed very good at proposing business ideas.
The Rhódania Express.
See, you've already got a name.
She's going to glance at the box one more time and just a moment, I think. Thank you, Gresham.
Of course, yes. I'll be outside. And he exits the room, leaving the rest of you and the box.
This won't be easy, but I guess there's no time like the present. And she'll look to Aegis.
Aegis looks to Connell, who had latched the box.
Yeah, Connell opens the box on the table.
So Aegis will essentially begin casting this spell where you see this like pale smoke, and there is a little bit of a resemblance to the whoosh of like Frike's wings in this magic as it fills Brim's body and he sits up in his shroud.
And that's where we're going to finish things for this week. Because that seems like a perfect moment to do so. So...
Brim? Is that you?
So perfect timing, as always.
That's been the MVP today.
100%.
There we go. You got caught up in my headphones.
A massive thank you for everyone who's tuned in tonight, and to my wonderful players. Let us go around the table, my dear friends. Please reintroduce yourself, plug anything you've got to plug, and give us your favorite moment from the session. Starting with, let's go in reverse order this time. Frike, let's start with you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Bridget. I've been Frank, the Way of the Long Death Shatterkai monk. Favorite moment, just a certain lore drop, certain reveal. It was kind of interesting, and I muted to ramble at the sky as I contemplated many more theories I might have about that. That was also great, and I felt like everybody's RP dynamics were top-notch, and yeah, I'm certainly very fascinated. And I'm not here Monday nights. You can find me every other Friday night over on QuestJunkiesUK for Candlekeep Mysteries. Coming soon to a Twitch stream / YouTube channel near you is our return to Cybervamp, return to Vampire the Masquerade, Cybervamp 2134, Night City by Night. So much excite there, releasing sometime in mid-May. It's gonna be a fun time. And when I'm not on stream, you can find me behind the scenes, recapping, lore keeping, fanfic, and all that good stuff. And that is me.
Indeed, yes, Cyberpunk 2134 coming soon. Around about the same time as another thing that you'll be taking part in, as our brand new bi-weekly campaign, Descent into Avernus, begins in just a couple of weeks' time. Well, I think 3 weeks' time, is it? Roundabout.
Just about.
It's coming up. So yes. Keep an eye out for the flames of Avernus, for they be burning bright soon. Thank you so much. Connell McGinnisy.
Hello, everybody. I'm Patrick, aka Patton. Sometimes I draw art, but on Monday afternoons I play Connell McGinnisy, or Genasi, Rune Knight Fighter. Plugs. a while ago, the Zelda one-shot came out, so I'm going to keep plugging that until it's been plugged to death. It's lots of fun. Me, Mai, C, and Andrew Fergs, the creator of the game, played a 2-shot I ran in February, which got released like at the beginning of this month, I want to say. It was lots of fun. It was really nice to see it live. But yeah, go check it out. Put lots of hard work. It's got animated cutscenes. It's got lots of stuff in it. It is sexy as hell. I'm still planning to do a stream where I break down everything I did behind the scenes and stuff. But I might work out how to get someone to talk to as opposed to just talking myself. So yeah. A favorite moment of the session. I've been sitting on the names of the Genasi for a while, and I was waiting until Aelin was here, so I could see that reaction of dropping another party member's name of hers on. That was fun. That was fun. And also Aelin's cat just being the MVP of this session.
Indeed. Thank you so much. Speaking of, Aegis.
Hi, I'm Aelin. I've been playing Aegis. You can find me here on Monday nights or Wednesday nights for the Wildmount Chronicles, and every other Friday on QuestJunkiesUK for Chisentis Tyranny alongside Patch. And favorite moment, honestly, I loved the little one-on-one dynamics that we got with Frike and Mr. Timey and Aegis and Connell.
Yeah.
Just a nice surprise of RP.
Yeah, the RP was top-notch tonight from everybody. Thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, by any measure, Macklemore.
Who what? Hi, I'm Artie the Halfling. I have been Macklemore / Mr. Timey. You can find me in the background of my partner Foxspotter's streams every now and then, causing chaos, being a nuisance. Go check her out. And favourite moment for me, I have to admit, was both of the flashbacks / dreams that Frike and Connell had were amazing. But what hit home for me was hearing once again, "You're my hero, Frike," and also Frike in response, well, not in response, but earlier in the session saying, "You're my hero, Brim." They were just two sides of a coin that made my night.
Yeah. We like to hit those big emotional beats in Rhódania, don't we, guys?
Slowly
Thank
learning
you.
that.
Yes, indeed. And there's so much more to come. And I have been Patch, the ever-humble Dungeon Master. I play everyone else. You can find me here every Monday and Wednesday, right here on Quest Junkies. Soon you will find me here every other Sunday on Quest Junkies as well, as we bring Descent into Avernus. You can find me every other Friday over on QuestJunkiesUK alongside Aelin in the aforementioned Chisentis Tyranny campaign, where I play my sassy yet classy Order of Scribes, Kalistar Wizard, Cleric, Helen Stargrove. I think we're off this week, aren't we? So, such a shame. I really missed that campaign. I didn't get to play last session. But I can't wait to get back into it. We have so much stuff coming out. We've been, just to talk about a few things for a hot second, we've been preparing behind the scenes for the launch of Quest Junkies Academy in June. We started running our first little test run sessions. Just to give a little sneak peek, we might have a Kids on Bikes game in the works, which we might... The first session went so well, we've actually talked about... because we recorded it, we've actually talked about producing it for Quest Junkies as an actual thing. So that might be happening. There's another thing coming up, which I believe a certain Macklemore in this call is going to be running, which I'm very excited about. There is a Call of Cthulhu thing in the works. So many different things. We're also planning various different things like... D&D for beginners, like seminar kind of things, TED Talks kind of things, where Because we want Quest Junkies Academy not just to be a place where people can come and play games, but also just learn TTRPGs and stuff. Because it helps us as well, because we can learn about these new TTRPGs. That like someone's like, oh hey, I have this TTRPG, it's really good. Would you like to try it? I'm like, oh yeah, shit, cool, let's do that. And that's going to be our little space. So I'll be making a video going into detail about what QGA is going to be over the next couple of weeks, and I'll be releasing that ahead of the launch in June. Very excited for that. We also, I suppose I can say, I put up a message yesterday in the community Discord, which if you haven't already, you should join. Quest Junkies does Game Changer, coming to a YouTube channel near you soon. That's right, I am Sam Reich, I am coming for you. I once tweeted you about Dropout UK being a cool thing that I could do for you, and you didn't reply to me, so I choose to see that as a threat. And I'm going to respond in kind. We're going to make our own Dropout with blackjack and hookers, and there you go. So lots of things coming soon. So that's that. As for my favorite moment, it's difficult to pick, as it always is. I loved the opening scene with Aegis and Connell. Like, that whole conversation genuinely moved me at times. I love seeing the two of you in particular RPing, because it's just fascinating seeing these two characters communicate and seeing these vastly different points of view coming together. Super fun. Same for Ike and Mr. Timey. Obviously, it's fun playing Brim, even if he's not really there. I do love that. And yeah, I love this table, and I want us to keep playing forever. So let's do that. Okay? No takesies backsies.
Okay.
Okay.
And with that, I'm going to love you and leave you. We are going to go raiding. Our friends over at Bards of New York are streaming, so we're going to go say hi to them. Go send some love. So, love to you all at home. And if there's anything else left to say, is it Monday yet? Good night, you guys.